Now, one of the hardest leagues in our coverage area is the MVL, with powerhouse programs of Tri-Valley and Sheridan constantly competing for the championship. We've got my man Scott MacDonald on desk to give us a lowdown.
You talk about difficult conferences. The MVL has 3 defending championships: Sheridan, Tri-Valley, and Philo. They all split a piece of the proverbial pie last season. And of course, all 3 teams want to repeat, but perhaps they want to do it outright this time around.
Now, Tri-Valley, they're a perennial power in that conference, but, what's going to be their story this year?
Well, the Scotties missed the playoffs last year, going 9-1, but that was supposed to be a bit of a rebuilding year with mostly juniors starting. Well, as time goes, those juniors are now seniors, and Tri-Valley is returning 17 starters. This includes quarterback Andrew Newsome, who led the offense to average over 35 points per game. And he's going to have plenty of weapons at his disposal. Receivers Jake McLaughlin and Dow Cameron will be threats in the vertical game, with running back Caleb Craig creating a headache for opponents. But the offense did struggle at times last year, but with a year under their belts of some of the starters, expected to be a strong point this year. And you can't talk about Tri-Valley without talking about their stout defense that they constantly put out there. This year, it's only going to be better, which has to be scary to think about, considering they held opponents to under 10 points 8 times last year. They returned virtually every starter. Chase Dinan and Nathan Lawler headlined the back 7, and they can anchor this team to another potential championship.
Well, Scott, you've hyped up Tri-Valley. Is there anyone you think that can challenge them?
Obviously, Tri-Valley, as usual, is the team to beat in the MVL, but I think their next closest competition is a small school located in Duncan Falls, the Philo Electric. Yes, they lost quarterback Nathan Baker and receiver Jake Mueller, but this was a team that prided itself on its defense last year, and this year it's going to be much of the same, especially with Isaac Gill playing quarterback for the first time. We did see during the 7-on-7s this summer, Gill looked very polished, which isn't exactly what you would expect from someone who's never played the position. His accuracy on the deep ball looked great and did not make too many bad decisions, which is huge, and that's all you can expect from a rookie quarterback. Now, he's not going to be expected to be Nathan Baker, but he has the playmaking abilities that the MVL will need to be on the lookout for.
So you're telling me they have their safety playing quarterback. So do you think those skills relate or translate in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. The safety is often considered the quarterback of the defense because they need to see the whole field. They need to know where the receivers are, where the backs are going, the stunts of the linemen. So as a safety, Gill already has an understanding of offensive schemes and plays. And as mentioned earlier, his arm strength and accuracy seems polished enough, but 7-on-7s doesn't need to be said, but they are significantly different than games. So he's still going to be tested throughout this year, especially in the difficult MVL.
Oh, absolutely. Difficult conference. So Tri-Valley and Philo at the top. How do you see the rest of this league playing out?
Well, here's my surprise pick of the season. John Glenn Muskies. Yes, last year they lost 3 games by a touchdown or less, and their veteran leadership should allow those close games to be on the winning side this year. And like Tri-Valley, they return most of their starters and will try to replace quarterback Matthew Stewart with senior Justin Haycock. The way I see the rest of the MVL playing out is Sheridan in 4th, but their standing heavily depends on how well quarterback Ethan Heller and receiver Ethan Tabor mesh together. But spots 3 through 5 are essentially a toss-up. I see those 3 teams as near equal of one another, but I will say this, Maysville is the only one returning their starting quarterback of those 3 in Connor Sidwell, which by mid-season could push them up potentially to contender status.
It was a wild race in this conference last year. Could be shaking out to be the same this year or something similar. Scott, thanks for the great work, man. Okay, I've already told you to check